Alright. What would you say if I told you that I like wrestling? You wouldn't fucking care? Yeah, fair enough. I don't mind wrestling. I dabble in it every now and again. I like kind of the drama that comes out of it, like the shoot shit. You know, when people just say they fucking hate WWE or whatever the case may be. And juicy drama that's recently happened with CM Punk for the 100th fucking time. Sorry. It was very interesting to me because, I don't know, I feel like wrestling's missing that every now and again, especially with this like massive transition period with WWE and Vince stepping down for Triple H to kind of take over. I like the direction so far. That being said, AEW, they're heading down the fucking pooper. Cold coffee. There is some juicy drama going on in AEW. CM Punk just, called out the whole locker room pretty much, or at least some of its biggest stars. Because, I'll get into that right now. If you've been living under a rock, around a week or so ago, the Southside native AEW champion CM Punk did a shoot press conference on AEW. More specifically, Kenny Omega, Adam Page, the Young Bucks, and Colt Cabana. Oh yeah, and MJF. I'll get to that in a minute because, poor guy. For some backstory to piece this all together, Cabana was fired from AEW by Tony Khan, the guy that owns the fucking company. I feel like you should know that. I don't know why you'd click on this video if you knew nothing about wrestling. So I'm hoping you know everyone that I'm about to mention. And the locker room was fond of the wrestler and speculated that Cabana's former friend, CM Punk, may have played a part in his firing. Omega and the Young Bucks made this public in the media, saying CM Punk was involved in Cabana's departure, and persuaded Khan to wish Colt the best of luck on his future endeavors. This didn't sit well with Punk at all, and led to a backstage altercation between Punk and the three men, where apparently fists were thrown. A few nights later, Hangman Adam Page addressed Colt Cabana's firing in a promo, which also didn't sit well with Punk. After the pay-per-view AEW All Out, Punk sat next to the owner, Tony Khan, and absolutely unloaded on the product. He brings up Scott Colton, who goes by the in-ring name Colt Cabana, and he disclaims that he has not talked to him in fucking years.
But my friends, if I fall backwards, will catch me. Scott Colton, I felt, never would have.
Punk goes on to fire shots, saying,
My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all of his bills. When I finally had to countersue him through Discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact.
Punk then segues into saying that this story was brought up because we have EVPs, that's the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who couldn't manage a fucking target.
And they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him. Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing.
He also continues to play the blame game and says,
What did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself?
Obviously, in regards to the promo. And Tony Khan just lets this bashing happen and finally opens his mouth to say,
It's my fault, and if I hadn't, it's my fault. It's my fault.
I appreciate that.
I should have just taken it head on because you never said anything.
And he does this to try to diffuse how heated Punk was getting. After an eerie silence, the attention is diverted to MJF's return, which was meant to be the talking point of the pay-per-view. And Khan tried to take over the question, saying, It was my idea to bring him back, and it was right for the fans. And Punk, clearly not done, follows up with,
He wants me to work with pricks constantly. That's what it is.
Nevertheless,
referencing MJF. I'm assuming because the question was on MJF. And then fell back into talking about Colt Cabana. Once again, the journalists try to focus on MJF, but Punk interrupts and comments on the EVP's slandering of their top babyface. The follow-up question started off quite well when talking about legends on the AEW roster, and Punk starts very genuine, shouting out Mark Henry, Dean Malenko, and others until he says,
"Isn't worth shit when you have an empty-headed idiot who's never done anything in the business do public interviews and say, I don't really take advice. Who the fuck do you think you are? Fucking go fuck yourself."
Another few awkward questions later, Punk puts on a pretty nice quote when answering a question about MJF.
The grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And Max likes to, shit where he eats instead of watering the grass, so.
Which is a cool jab at MJF if it didn't come from CM Punk's mouth. A guy who built his name up in WWE, became a star in WWE, boo-hooed about not being the top guy, and left to end up in AEW. Because it came from Punk, and not someone like Eddie Kingston, or Adam Page, even Jon Moxley or Bryan Danielson, it would have been so much better. But it came from CM Punk, which is so hypocritical. Surprisingly, the interview calms down a lot more after this. And holy shit, the facial gymnastics of Tony Khan is fucking mental. The interview ends with one last jab at Colt Cabana until Punk gets up and ends the presser. My thoughts on the whole thing kind of sways both ways. I think Punk had the right to say that he wasn't involved if he wasn't involved. But putting Colt Cabana on blast, it was just a little bit too much. I think the whole situation could have been handled so much better from both parties. The way it all played out, it just makes the company look like a fucking circus. Like, look at Tony Khan's face throughout the presser. He's putting his tail between his legs, something cruel. And Punk did say things that were too far, but if I was Tony, I would have been like, "Stop!" I don't think taking shots at MJF was necessary, because he literally had nothing to do with any of this. He just returned at a bad time. The whole grass isn't always greener line is insanely hypocritical and really shouldn't have been said. And apparently I'm not the only one who thinks this, because a segment on SmackDown has gone viral again from like 2013, I think, when Summer of Punk was going on, so like 2012, 2013, back when CM Punk was in the WWE and had a feud with Triple H where they had a back and forth. In the segment, Triple H really puts things into perspective, especially when comparing it nowadays. Saying things like, "I've given you what you wanted, I bent over backwards for you, and you still disrespect me. You want to be the catalyst of change if it benefits you. And you talk about being the catalyst of change, you really mean you only accept change unless you're on top." And you can see a lot of this in Punk nowadays. He got to AEW, got pushed right away, and all of the talent that got pushed aside real quick, guys like Darby Allin, Adam Page, even Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, they all got pushed out of the way. Just so Punk could have a monumental moment in AEW and be the top guy like he once was in WWE. And the funny thing is that Triple H and the WWE are sitting back laughing right now at AEW slowly crumbling from the inside. I don't think WWE ever really cared about AEW, but with the amount of stars being released or walking from WWE just to end up in AEW, must have pricked WWE's ears just a little bit. And to see one of the WWE's quote-unquote nuisances, CM Punk, kick up a fuss in AEW, it had to have been music to Paul's ears. To finish off the video, there are one of two ways to end this drama if all parties can't get on the same page. Adam Page. Khan could fire CM Punk, which leads to the loss of your biggest draw that you've ever had in the company, which would make some of the older guys a bit mad because a lot of veterans take a liking to Punk. Or you could get rid of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks have actually reported that they're quite unhappy in AEW right now. But what you'd be doing there is you'd be handing WWE one of the best tag teams ever and one of the best in-ring performers in Kenny Omega. This could piss off a lot of indie stars, keeping a WWE alumni in his mid-40s over some younger, indie circuit talent. To me, letting Punk walk is probably the better option. But judging by this presser, Tony seems to bow down to CM Punk at this point. There are talks about all of this being a work and that the presser was premeditated. And to that I say, nah, not buying it. You think that this face screams, I'm in on it? Going on a verbal tirade to people who aren't even involved in your drama doesn't sway me to think that it's all one big promo. In terms of it being premeditated, yeah, I'm sure Punk said to Tony Khan that he's going to talk about the Colt Cabana incident and probably left it at that. Because that face says, I've been left out of the loop. So at best, that statement is probably vaguely true, I guess. But I don't know, it's interesting to see where AEW goes from here. Because if this isn't a work, which I'm pretty sure it's not, AEW are not looking pretty good at the moment. I do think Punk leaving wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for AEW. It'll be a massive loss, but you can definitely recover from that. CM Punk has by far been the biggest draw for AEW. It's the only reason why their ratings are insanely good, because they have all these ex-WWE guys that really became superstars, and then they've just chucked them in AEW. But yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know, because they're fast, they're easy, and they're fun to talk about. I like talking about WWE. I like talking about sport, because if you can't tell, I'm an athletic freak. Sitting in my fucking chair, being a fat ass. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Later.